Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. This is the day Jay-Z discovered how dangerous Beanie Sigel really is. Now, sit back. We're going to play this. I'm going to give you the history on Beanie Sigel and Jay-Z, how they met. Jay-Z from the street. He thinking that he going to deal with dudes getting into the record business that's already seasoned and on civilian time, but he meet a straight bona fide gangster like Beanie Sigel. So sit back, enjoy the ride, hit the QR code, cop my man Lou Sims' book, subscribe at Unique Mecca Audio Prison Stories and Mecca Audio TV. Hit the notification bell. Let's get it popping. All right. You know what it is, Unique Mecca Audio, man. Right now, we're going to talk about Beanie Sigel, you know, letting the animal out because he felt Jay-Z violated. Sit back, watch this video. It's a lot of jewels in it. I'm going to do a lot of rides. Just enjoy the ride, man. All right, let's go.
And that was it. And they wouldn't push it no more. But Beanie, they would you couldn't be bigger than Jay-Z on Jay-Z's label. You couldn't sell more records than Jay-Z. But all you had to do was listen to Beanie Sigel. And Beanie Sigel was, oh my God.
If it got to go down, it's gonna go down. I'm gonna bust your ass all the way around the board. That's just how I am.
Now, see what he's saying is that Jay-Z don't want nobody on the label selling more records than him. You know, they said that about Diddy. That's what happened with, you know, the other rappers that was with him. He didn't want them outside and being that he was an artist. So do y'all think that the CEO should also be an artist as well? Because then you run into these problems where they worrying about these other artists being bigger than them when they the CEO supposed to be just worrying about blowing up the company. Cause let me ride. Like when I'm on the street and I'm selling my drugs, if I meet a dude, right, and I give him 20 keys and I tell him I see him in a week, he calls me in 3 days. Now he's done. And I'm like, oh man. So now, do I give him another 20 keys, or do I say, if I give him 20 more keys, he's gonna be making more than I'm making, and he's gonna be a bigger baller than me? Now, I said, give him the drugs, get the bag, and let him ball out of control, because the feds is gonna be watching, and the feds is equivalent to the listeners, what they call them, you know, the consumers. You know what I mean? It's going to be listening, so you want the consumers to spend the bag because you're going to get it because it's your drugs. You own the company. You own the coke, Jay. Let's keep it moving.
When you cross that line to the point where I got to move out, no hesitation, dog.
See, what he's saying is, yo, business is business. If you cross that line where I'm trying to holler at you because I got an issue with what's going on and you ignore me, then y'all, I'm gonna move out, and it is what it is, man. Whatever come with that, because you done took it away from the business and you done made this thing personal. All right?
He understands.
Beanie Sigel is widely regarded as one of the best MCs in hip-hop, playing a big role in shaping the sound of early 2000s rap.
I still close my eyes, I still see vision.
But Beanie wasn't just known for his skills on the mic. He had a serious reputation in the streets too. In fact, he was still active in the streets while balancing his rap career.
See, and that's what the problem is. The labels don't know that these brothers is living the life that they're rapping about. So don't play no games, okay?
Earning him the nickname the Broad Street Bully.
If it got to go down, it's gonna go down. I'm gonna bust your all the way around the board. That's just how I am.
And with a name like that, you already know crossing him wouldn't end well. Apparently, Jay-Z learned this the hard way when he tried to play Beanie.
Damn, dog, that's how you feel? I feel as though you owe me a conversation.
You see what I'm saying? Beanie said, man, I feel like you owe me a conversation because right now I'm in my body, and you already know that men don't move by their feelings and emotions. We are governed by our instinct and desire to survive. And right now, I feel you owe me a conversation. So now I'm either going to rough off the conversation or I'm going to take it to the next level, because that means that you're not respecting my stance and my conversation, is what Beanie is saying. Play this out.
Right.
That's it. You too big to talk to me? When you cross that line to the point where I got to move out, no hesitation, dog. To be, I'm a. He understand that.
Word is, Jay-Z sabotaged Beanie multiple times, and as someone who came from the streets, Beanie wasn't about to let that slide. He made it clear he wasn't one to mess with, and was reportedly ready to take their beef beyond music and into the streets.
You see what I'm saying? You're playing games with my bag, I take it in the street because I get my bag from the street.
Meanwhile, Jay-Z kept quiet, but silence didn't mean safety, not when dealing with someone like Beanie.
And they would only let Beanie sell so many records. And that was it. And they wouldn't push it no more. But Beanie, they would you couldn't be bigger than Jay-Z on Jay-Z's label.
See, and that was the problem, even with Diddy. When G-Dep came out, he was fire. You know, when Biggie came out, Junior Mafia. But at the same time, Diddy's like, man, he taking my shine.
Beanie's street cred was no joke. He was known for handling things directly, like the time he almost beat up some guys who tried to rob Kanye West.
Kanye was like at a diner or something. You know the story already? He was feeling how some dudes was like looking at him sideways at his jewelry or whatever.
Yeah.
And he started to get kind of nervous, and he called you up.
Stories like that solidified his no-nonsense reputation.
See what I'm saying? Kanye West had an issue, and he called his comrade Beanie Sigel, and he came to the rescue and defused the situation, ready to take it to whatever level. The person that Kanye felt, you know, was looking at him sideways at his jewelry, wanted to take it.
So when it came to his issues with Jay-Z, Beanie wasn't about to let him off the hook easily. There's a lot to unpack, so let's break it down further. Beanie Sigel's life is the kind of story that belongs on the big screen, a true roller coaster with epic highs and devastating lows. His journey took him to the pinnacle of the rap game, only to see it all come crashing down. From the streets of South Philly to the heights of hip-hop superstardom, Beanie's life is as raw and unfiltered as his music. Born and raised in South Philadelphia, Beanie grew up in a tough environment with his mom and 3 siblings. His relationship with his father was complicated, to say the least. According to Beanie, his dad was around and not around at the same time, creating a void that shaped much of his upbringing. Trouble came early. He started getting into it at just 9 years old. By the time he was 14, Beanie had fully jumped off the porch, immersing himself in a lifestyle that involved robbery, drugs, and all the chaos that came with it.
I've been getting in trouble since 9 years old, juvenile policeman.
At 14, you got locked up and you went to the farm.
Yeah, Slayton Farms. Yeah, I got locked up 14. I think that was probably the same thing, like robbery.
The streets of Philly were his stomping grounds, and they molded him into the no-nonsense figure he'd later become. Fast forward to the late 90s. Beanie was still living that street life, but fate had something else in store. One day, while hanging out with his friend Bubonic, a member of Philly's Most Wanted, Beanie ended up in a casual rap battle. It was all fun and games, but Boo was blown away by what he heard. He saw the raw talent Beanie didn't even realize he had and immediately told him he needed to come to a meeting with Roc-A-Fella Records. Now to set the stage. This was before Roc-A-Fella became the powerhouse it's remembered as today. Jay-Z had dropped Reasonable Doubt in 1996, and while it was a solid debut, the label was far from the behemoth it would eventually become. At that time, Beanie wasn't even thinking about rap as a career. He was more focused on the streets, and on the day of the meeting, had actually planned to hit up a dogfight to play some bets. To him, skipping that for a meeting about music seemed like a waste of time. This kind of thinking would pop up repeatedly in Beanie's life, a tendency to prioritize the streets over everything else. But after some convincing from Boo, who told him this was a real opportunity with contracts on the table, Beanie reluctantly agreed to tag along. That decision, though made half-heartedly at the time, turned out to be the turning point of his life. When Beanie stepped into that Roc-A-Fella meeting, it was like lightning in a bottle. His raw, gritty style and authenticity stood out instantly. Jay-Z, Dame Dash, and the rest of the team saw the potential in him and wasted no time in bringing him on board. Suddenly, Beanie Sigel went from the streets of South Philly to rubbing shoulders with some of the biggest names in hip-hop. Joining Roc-A-Fella launched his career to the masses, and he became a key player in the label's meteoric rise. Beanie Sigel joined Roc-A-Fella Records right before the label skyrocketed to legendary status. Timing is everything, and for Beanie, the stars aligned perfectly. His debut album, The Truth, dropped in 2000 and made an immediate impact, selling 150,000 copies in its first week. That was a big deal for a new artist, and it firmly established Beanie as one of the hottest voices in hip-hop at the time.
BC go with that arsenic flow. That don't hold me.
This success wasn't just about Beanie's talent, though. It was part of a bigger wave happening at Roc-A-Fella. Jay-Z was dominating the early 2000s, and his momentum created what some call the no-limit effect. If you're wondering what that means, think back to when Master P was at his peak. His No Limit records created such a buzz that fans were thirsty for anything with the No Limit tank logo. It didn't matter if it was Master P's album or his cousin's mixtape.
See, and that's what I'm saying, right? We had a saying back in the day when dudes used to be like, yo, I'm cool, man. I want to be down. I don't want to be the man. I just want to be the man next to the man. I just want to be able to get whatever crumbs fall off your plate, and I'm good with that because your crumbs is loaves of bread, all right? And I'm just trying to eat. So I just want to be the man next to the man, all right?
People just wanted more. Jay-Z and Roc-A-Fella tapped into that same energy. By the time Beanie came into the fold, the Roc-A-Fella brand was like a golden ticket. Anything they touched, albums, merch, even movies, was practically guaranteed to succeed. And speaking of movies, Roc-A-Fella decided to dip into Hollywood with State Property in 2002, a hood classic that still holds its own in the streets today. State Property was more than just a movie. It was a cultural moment. Beanie played the main character, Fridge, and the story revolved around the street life and hustling that Beanie knew all too well.
Oh, Bill. Going to get down or you going to lay down?
Honestly, it's hard to say how much of his performance was acting and how much was just Beanie being himself. Either way, he nailed it. The movie was a financial win too, earning $2 million on a modest $600,000 budget. That's
$1.4 million profit on 600,000. Pay attention. Why do you think Jay-Z never followed up on this movement?
the kind of return Roc-A-Fella loved to see. The success of State Property wasn't just about the film. It coincided with the creation of the State Property rap group, a collective that Beanie spearheaded alongside Freeway. This wasn't just some thrown-together crew either. State Property had real talent, including Petey Crack, the Young Guns, Neef Buck and Young Chris, Oshino, and Emilio Sparks. Together, they brought a raw energy to Roc-A-Fella that perfectly complemented the label's vibe. Their first project as a group was the State Property movie soundtrack, which featured the now classic Rock the Mic by Beanie and Freeway. That track was everywhere, and it set the stage for their next release, The Chain Gang Vol. 2, in 2003. That album didn't just keep the momentum going, it elevated it. The Young Guns' single Can't Stop Won't Stop became a hit and even earned a Grammy nomination for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group.
It's Beanie in a place with Young Free, and I got what it takes to rock the mic right, yeah.
Now, Beanie Sigel's reputation as a real street dude always followed him, no matter how much success he had in music. While his Roc-A-Fella peers were busy building their rap careers and enjoying the perks of fame, Beans always seemed to have one foot planted firmly in the streets. That reputation wasn't just talk. He backed it up on more than one occasion. One story that shows just how loyal and street-savvy Beanie was happened in 2002. Kanye West, who was still new to the Roc-A-Fella family and fresh off getting his first rock chain, decided to hit up a spot in Philly with his crew for some late-night eats. As they were sitting there, a group of guys approached them. They were smiling, looking friendly, but their intentions were far from it. These dudes were planning to rob Kanye and his crew once they left the restaurant. Kanye, not being from Philly and clearly sensing something was off, decided to call up Beanie. It didn't take long. Within minutes, Beans showed up with a squad of his own.
Off. Like, hurry up, and when you come out of here, it's going down.
The would-be robbers didn't stand a chance. Whatever
You see what I'm saying? Saying Beanie walked in the joint and told him straight up, yo, hurry up and eat, man, because when you go outside, it's going down because you're looking at my man kind of sideways. I'm not feeling it, he not feeling it, and we not going for it. So this is what it is. You know what I mean? That's how gangster it is. That's why I say don't get involved in the street because you don't know when you're going to run across a Beanie Sigel, man. Just keeping it 100. And don't think that, you know, and that was the problem. Let me ride. That was the problem, right? Back in the day, they were signing all these street rappers, and as they signing the street rappers, they expected the street rappers to play by civilian rules and get involved in the business and play these little fugazi games and wait till the end of the quarter. 3 months to get paid. So I sell 200,000 records, even at $1 a piece. That's 200,000, and you telling me I gotta wait 90 days before I get paid. So dudes was going to the record label, kicking over the table. Look what Ice Cube did when he went out there in Cali when he had a problem with them and said, hold up, I want out this contract. He went in there ready to tear the joint up. So that's why they didn't want to take street dudes on major record labels, but the major record labels knew they couldn't make it without the street dudes, so they had to put other street dudes in position to be able to deal with the street dudes that had the talent that was coming in. Hence, that's why they took Jay-Z and made him where he was in front of what's that big label that he was with. I know he had the Roc-A thing. Y'all put in the comment because you know the rap bastards and flip-flop in and public trolls quick to say, you wrong, Unique, you wrong, Unique, because they're just a bunch of hookers. Take that rich on the way out. I can't stand you dudes. And make sure you don't even buy my book. Please don't even buy my book. If you come to my channel, just don't touch nothing. Go subscribe at Unique Mecca Audio Prison Stories so that you know how real it get. Or go to Mecca Audio TV. Let's keep this thing moving. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you get the notification. Right here at Unique Mecca Audio, please. Cash App is on the screen. Don't want a Cash App. All I want you to do right now is hit the notification bell and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Is that a deal? All right.
Whatever they had planned ended as soon as Beans walked through the door, making it clear that Kanye was off limits. That's just the kind of person Beanie was. He looked out for his people, no questions asked. But Beanie didn't just have Kanye's back in dangerous situations. He also played a part in helping Kanye craft his identity as an artist. According to Kanye himself, it was Beanie who came up with the now iconic nickname Yeezy. That's a huge deal when you think about how much that name has become a part of Kanye's brand.
Do you think Kanye broke Beanie off for coming up with the name Yeezy? Put it in the comments. If you rat bastards know, now is your chance to talk. Put it in the comments.
You know, funny though, I don't understand.
Because he made up the name Yeezy. He used to call me Yeezy.
Unfortunately, that street loyalty and mentality eventually caught up with him. By 2005, Beanie's constant juggling of street life and his rap career took a turn for the worse. He ended up in jail for a year, and the timing couldn't have been worse. While Beans was locked up, Roc-A-Fella Records was falling apart. Jay-Z and Dame Dash, the two titans behind the label, were at odds, and their feud essentially split Roc-A-Fella down the middle. When Beanie Sigel got out of jail, he came back to a Roc-A-Fella Records that was in shambles. The label he had once been a major part of was no longer the same powerhouse it used to be, and things had already hit the fan. To make matters worse, his own group, State Property, had decided to stay loyal to Jay-Z, which had to sting for Beans. It wasn't just business, it was personal. Beanie openly questioned the loyalty of his crew, wondering how they could stick with Jay after everything. In interviews, Beanie made it clear that he wasn't feeling Jay at the time. He even said he was leaning towards signing with Dame Dash and Biggs Burke's new venture, Dame & Dash Music Group. His reasoning? Beanie claimed he had a stronger personal relationship with Dame and Biggs than he ever did with Jay.
See, what Beans is saying is that Dame and Biggs, they was more keeping it street, where Jay was going corporate looking towards the billion, and Dame was like, I'm dealing with the loyalty of the struggle. All right, if you understand that.
He explained, I've never been around Jay on an off day. It ain't like I made a choice of running with Dame and Biggs, or Dame and Biggs held me down through my whole trial. It's not that. I would be a sucker if I said I signed with the Dame & Dash Music Group, because they did that for me. It's love. You see how we chillin' now? This ain't about no business. Still, Beanie didn't want to pick sides in the Roc-A-Fella Civil War. Despite his feelings about Jay, he clarified that he wasn't trying to throw himself into the middle of the conflict. Instead, he reopened talks with Roc-A-Fella and eventually decided to stay with the label. In 2006, Beanie officially re-signed with Roc-A-Fella and got back to work on his music. He started recording for his fourth studio album, The Solution, and by 2007 he was back with a new single, All the Above, featuring R. Kelly. The song debuted at number 83 on the US R&B charts, and when The Solution dropped later that year, it made its way to number 37 on the Billboard charts. It looked like Beanie was trying to regain his footing, but cracks were already starting to show. The reality was that Beanie's career, and really the careers of most Roc-A-Fella artists who weren't Jay-Z, was on a downward spiral. Many industry insiders have since spoken about what went wrong during that time, and a lot of fingers point back to Jay. Comedian TK Kirkland shared a story he heard from a producer who worked with Roc-A-Fella. According to this producer, there was an unspoken rule at the label: no artist could be allowed to outshine Jay-Z. If your success started creeping too close to his, the brakes would be applied, hard.
And they would only let Beanie sell so many records. And that was it. And they wouldn't push it no more. But Beanie, you couldn't be bigger than Jay-Z on Jay-Z's label.
For Beanie, that meant his albums weren't pushed as hard as they could have been. Even when he delivered solid projects, they never got the full marketing and promotional backing needed to reach their full potential. And it wasn't just TK Kirkland saying this. Dame Dash himself has also hinted at similar sabotage. Dame claimed that if Beanie had signed with him instead of re-upping with Jay, he had big plans to take Bean's career to new heights.
When Beans chose to go with Jay, that one hurt. Because I'd done a lot and prepared. I chose State Property over Rockware. But it almost like he tricked Beans to shelf him. And
Beanie Sigel himself has opened up about some personal moments that shaped his life and career, especially when it came to his relationship with Jay-Z. He mentioned how Jay-Z influenced his approach to writing music, specifically noting that Jay-Z, who is known for not writing his lyrics down, encouraged Beanie to adopt the same style. This change was significant for Beanie, altering his creative process.
Do you write?
No.
Oh, you don't write?
No. I picked that up from Jack. He made me not write.
One of the most painful moments in their relationship came in 2003 when Beanie was battling serious legal troubles. Jay-Z showed up for him in court and spoke on his behalf, but he made it clear that he wouldn't take responsibility for keeping Beanie out of trouble. For someone like Beanie, who had looked up to Jay as a brother figure, it was a crushing blow.
All right, right there. Let's talk about that, right? 'Cause we just had that conversation with one of the homies that's, dealing with Diddy, and he even said that nobody could keep Diddy out of trouble if Diddy was to get bail, and it may be best for Diddy to stay in there until he go to trial because the case is weak. You can't stop no man from doing nothing, man. You can't stop no man from doing nothing. And I know how Beans feel as a man from the street, because it don't matter if I'm gonna crash out. If you my man, you're supposed to get me out. Under any circumstances, you get me out. Don't tell me I'm a crash dummy if I get out, your name attached. Nobody want to hear that when you on the street, because when a dude called you, like how Kanye called him and told him he had beef at the restaurant and he felt dudes looking at him sideways, looking at his jewelry, he grabbed his Glocks and his homies and they went over there with no flip-flops on and handled the situation. And they could have went to jail. He didn't tell Kanye, yo, them dudes might have guns. I don't want to come out there because I got a career now. And that's what you rat bastards and flip-flop wearing public trolls will be sitting here saying. Oh, he had too much to lose. No, it don't matter what you got to lose. If you riding with me, you riding with me. I'm going to do the best I can to do what's supposed to be done, and you do the best you can as far as to keep me from violating, because you're the big homie. And you knew when you got with me, I was a crash dummy. Come on, man. Put in the comments if you agree with that or disagree. Let's keep this thing moving.
I never been crushed like that ever in my life, Beanie admitted later. That effed me up.
See, that messed him up, because being from the street, we know that no matter what, our comrades is coming to get us. Listen, right? Because we ride. My brother got caught in my store with like a half a key of coke or something like that when I was out of town. I told him to chill his ass down in Virginia, don't bring his ass to New York, that the price is too high. Just fall back. I got plenty of work. When I come back, you know what I mean? We'll push it out and we'll see what the numbers are. Because when they have a drought, the numbers might be, you know, it might be going for 15 on the street. When there's a drought, that's usually in like May, June, or October, November. You know what I mean? Right before December. That's when the cartels, they do inventory just like Walmart and Macy's. They do inventory, but they shut the stores down the same way the prison shut the commissary down, and they count how many items they sold, how much they made, what they lost, and what was the big sellers, what to bring more back of, and so on and so on. So that's how that play out. You understand? So now you got Beans sitting here, he in his body because Jay didn't want to stamp him getting out. My brother came to New York and got caught with the half a key in the store. I didn't get mad and say, I told you to stay where you at. His bail was $1 million. You know what I mean? So they wanted 100,000 up front for the little 10%. But I don't believe in owing nobody nothing, not even no 10%. So I told my brother straight up, look, I'm gonna put the $1 million up. When you come out, you give me back the $1 million, I'm gonna get you out. You understand what I'm saying? And my brother was like, you know, I might not go back to court. I said, that's why you giving me the $1 million, and that's why we putting up the whole $1 million. So it's up to you if you want to go back to court. But either way, I got my $1 million back. And then it's your choice if you want to go to run. You understand? Because that's how it works. So that's where we at, where I held them down regardless, and that's how Beans felt like Jay should have held them down, to say that, oh, he's a good man, he's a this and that, but I don't want to take responsibility. Come on, dog, you better off not even going in there if you're going to say that. Right or wrong, y'all put in the comments, you scumbag rat bastards. I know you got something to say about that, because that's just your pedigree.
That took away a lot of S that I thought we had. Like, that's big, bro. This moment left Beanie reeling. It wasn't just about the case. It was the realization that the bond he thought they had wasn't as strong as he believed.
See, what it was is Jay was going corporate at the time. He wasn't dealing with the street, because the street is under no circumstances do you leave a man behind, because we like to ride. That's the same way. Let's take John McCain. Rest in peace. Round of applause to John McCain. All right, relax, y'all. Relax. Y'all might not even know who John McCain is. John McCain was locked up, got caught up in the Korean War, something like that. He over there. And, you know, when they found out who his daddy was, you know, the Koreans agreed to let him go. And John McCain said, I'm not going nowhere unless you let go the other comrades that I got picked up with. I'm not going to leave because of my daddy and go back and leave my comrades to deal with this mess. I'm going to sit here and deal with this mess with my comrades. So, of course, as what's his name? Muhammad Ali called the Viet Cong, said, all right, well, you keep your dumb ass here then, you know? And he kept his dumb ass there, as you rat bastards would call it, but that's loyalty to your people. So instead of leaving early, he stayed behind with his people and see how it played out, in the same way he could have died on that end if it would have played out in another manner. But you don't think of that. You think of the loyalty, and if you deal with somebody, you give your life for that person. And you give your word to get them out of the belly of the beast. Do you agree with that or not? Y'all put it in the comments.
It was a turning point in their relationship, one that left a scar on Beanie's trust. However, not everyone agrees with the narrative that Jay-Z sabotaged Beanie's career. Many fans and industry insiders argue that Jay actually did a lot to boost Beanie's career.
He did do a lot to boost his career. We got to say that. But Jay, you should have signed to get him out, my dude, and just situated it to secure your bag, that if I get you out, I get my money back and you could run and do what you want to do, the same as I did with my brother.
Signing him to Roc-A-Fella, to featuring him on tracks and pushing his music. But at the end of the day, Beanie's personal choices seem to play a bigger role in his downfall. The truth is, Beanie couldn't keep himself out of trouble, and those decisions began to overshadow his undeniable talent. In 2006, Beanie became a victim of a shooting during an attempted robbery. although he managed to escape and drive himself to the hospital. And it wasn't like this was an isolated incident. Just a month before the shooting, Beanie had been released from jail after serving time for failing to pay child support. Then in 2009, he was arrested again in New Jersey for possession charges. By 2010, Beanie found himself in even deeper trouble when he was hit with 3 counts of failing to pay taxes on over $1 million in income. The result was a 25-month prison sentence, and if that wasn't enough, just 2 weeks before reporting to prison for his tax case, Beanie was arrested yet again, this time in Philadelphia, for drugs, weapons, and conspiracy charges after being pulled over by police.
Man, it sounded like he was trying to get the bag to pay the IRS. What the IRS lock him up for? You put the press on a dude and say, you owe me X amount of dollars, and then now he go get a pistol and the drugs, and he go out there, and then now he get caught. You say he violated. You forced him to violate by putting the press on him. I mean, that's how we look at it on the street.
It seemed like no matter how hard he tried, the streets wouldn't let go of him, or maybe he couldn't let go of the streets. By September 2012, Beanie was locked up, serving his 2-year sentence for tax evasion. But because of the charges he caught just before reporting to prison, an additional 23 months were tacked on to his time. It was a rough patch, but Beanie finally got out on August 14, 2014 and was sent to a halfway house to start rebuilding his life. Unfortunately, trouble followed him yet again. Just 4 months after his release, Beanie was shot in New Jersey, and this time it was bad. He had to be rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery. The injuries were so severe that he ended up losing a lung. Beanie Sigel spent what should have been his most productive years bouncing in and out of jail during a time when music sales were breaking records left and right. He had everything going for him. A prime spot on Roc-A-Fella, the most popular rap label of the era, a foot in the door with acting, and connections to some of the hottest clothing lines of the time. He even played a part in shaping Kanye West's brand, coining the iconic Yeezy nickname. According to Beanie, Kanye offered him a staggering $50 million as a token of gratitude for the moniker, but he turned it down, a move that left many scratching their heads. Looking back, it's hard not to question that decision, especially when you consider Beanie's current financial situation. Reports
You see what I'm saying? Y'all worrying about his money. See, Beans let him know, yo, family, I gave that to you. That's from the heart. I didn't do that to get a bag, so you don't owe me no 50 million, and you rat bastards can't even understand that type of mentality. And that's why you came to Unique Mecca Audio. Sit back, don't touch nothing. Remember, I'm riding. Remember I told you about the little female that I used to get when I get in the car? Bottom line was I was going to take it to the hotel, blow a buck back out, get choked out, and then drop off in the morning. So that means that I don't need no conversation. When you get in the car, I'm going to turn the radio all the way up, and you don't touch or say nothing. And that's the same thing that Beans is saying. Come on, dog.
Estimate his net worth today at just $100,000, a shocking figure for someone who once stood at the forefront of hip-hop's golden era. Physically, Beanie's not in the best shape either. Losing a lung took a toll on his body. His voice sounds noticeably different, and he's lost a significant amount of weight. It's painful to see someone who had the world at their fingertips end up here. By all accounts, Beanie should be worth millions today, living comfortably off his contributions to the culture. Instead, it feels like he squandered his potential and wealth trying to maintain a tough guy image that ultimately cost him more than it gave. Of course, some people argue that Jay-Z might have played a role in Beanie's fallout, but there's another perspective that's gaining traction. Maybe Jay saw something others didn't. Say what you want about Jay-Z, and there's plenty that could be said, but one thing's clear: Jay knew when and how to leave the streets behind. He transitioned out of that life at the perfect time and focused on building a lasting legacy. Beanie, on the other hand, couldn't seem to let go of that lifestyle, and it seems like he had to learn those lessons the hard way.
You know, so that's where we at, so you understand, man. Beanie Sigel is one of the best that ever done it. I wanted to do this show because I want y'all to really understand how this game is played. These are two young brothers from the street growing up, trying to make it. And then one is getting more business orientated and one is still trapped in the street. Then the one trapped in the street getting a situation. He need the one that's business orientated that got his life together to come back and pull him out the situation. He came back, spoke for him, but didn't pull him out the situation or attempt to pull him out the situation because he refused to take responsibility for his actions. And we know you can't be responsible for no man's actions. But when you on the street, you roll with your man, and you know under no circumstances do you leave a man behind. The same way John McCain refused to leave his comrades, his soldiers behind that got captured with them in Vietnam. This make any sense to you? This is a little too deep, or it's too much metaphors that's outside your league. I don't think it is, because I know that my subscribers has been watching me long enough to understand how this thing works. And that's why what I'm asking you is, please subscribe at Unique Mecca Audio. Hit the notification bell. Please hit the notification bell to this channel. They're trying to shadow ban me. And please go to Unique Mecca Audio Prison Stories. I'm going to be putting up mad prison stories. Show some love, and go to Mecca Audio TV and show some love. Hit the notification bell and subscribe to Unique Mecca Audio Prison Stories, Unique Mecca Audio, and Mecca Audio TV. Show some love. This is how we look out for each other where I come from. Just speaking about me and where I come from. All right?
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, he back on the strip, getting back in the mix. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca Audio.